The inverse law: stop forcing and let the universe fulfill your desires. Introduction: the paradox that changes everything. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever wanted something so bad that it just kept running away from you? Yeah, me too. It's like chasing a butterfly. The more you run after it, arms swinging, heart racing, the more it dodges you like it's playing tag. But the moment you sit down, take a breath, and just be there, guess what? The butterfly lands on your shoulder. That's the paradox. That's the secret most people never hear loud enough to believe. The harder you chase, the further it slips away. But when you stop trying so hard, when you let go, that's when the magic shows up. Quietly, naturally, like it was always meant to be there. I used to think that if I wasn't grinding, if I wasn't constantly pushing, then I'd fall behind. I believed that life only rewarded the relentless. So I forced things, opportunities, relationships, goals. But instead of winning, I felt like I was drowning in effort, exhausted, frustrated, empty-handed. Then something wild happened. I stopped, not in a give up and do nothing kind of way. I stopped forcing. I let go of the need to control everything. I chose trust over tension, and that tiny shift, it cracked something wide open inside me. Suddenly, the doors I was banging on with bloody knuckles just started opening. It was like the universe had been waiting for me to get out of the way, to stop blocking the flow with my fear, my rush, my desperate energy. The moment I surrendered, life stepped in. Opportunities came, people showed up. Ideas flowed like water from a spring I didn't even know existed. That's when I discovered what I now call the inverse law. The idea that what you want the most doesn't come through force, but through alignment, through ease, through allowing. That's not what they teach you in school. It's not what most motivational videos scream about. But I'm telling you, from lived experience, it's real. It works. And it changes everything. This book isn't about doing less. It's about being more open, more tuned in, more connected to that invisible current that already knows exactly how to bring your desires to you. So if you've been stuck in hustle mode, trying to make it happen, gripping your dreams so tightly they can't breathe, you're in the right place. Get ready to flip the script, to break the rules they never told you were optional, to stop chasing and finally start receiving. Because the truth is, you weren't born to struggle. You were born to flow. And this paradox, it just might be the key your soul's been searching for all along. Let's begin. Running after the wind, my wake-up call from the universe. Let me take you back to a time when I thought I had it all figured out. I had this dream, big, shiny, full of promise. I could almost taste it. You know that feeling, right? Like you're this close to making it, like the finish line is right around the corner, if you just push a little harder. So I did. I woke up at 5 a.m. every day, downed black coffee like it was magic fuel, made never-ending to-do lists, and ran through them like a machine. I watched all the 10x Your Life videos. I said the affirmations, did the vision boards, even tried journaling under a full moon. Yeah, I was all in. But here's the thing, nobody tells you. When you're chasing your dream with desperation dripping off your skin, the dream runs faster. Everything I tried felt like I was swimming against a current that just kept getting stronger. The more I forced it, the more life pushed back. Emails ignored, calls ghosted, projects flopped, money, don't even get me started. I remember sitting in my room one night, laptop open, phone buzzing with yet another no thanks message. My heart sank, my head dropped. I felt like I was chasing the wind and losing. That night, something inside me snapped, but in the best way. I closed my laptop, turned off my phone, and just breathed. No to-do list, no strategy, no force, just silence. And guess what? In that stillness, something clicked. Not in the outside world, yet, but in me. I realized I'd been trying to outrun my own energy. I was so busy making it happen. I wasn't allowing anything real to show up. My desire had turned into a frantic hunt, and I had forgotten how to receive. That was my first real taste of what I now call the inverse law. That strange little truth that the more you relax, the more life responds. That when you let go of the tight grip, things finally fall into place. Not because you gave up, but because you finally got out of the way. So, if you're out there chasing and wondering why the finish line keeps moving, maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop running. Take a breath, let the wind come to you, and trust me, it will. When I let go, everything showed up. After months of running in circles, chasing results, and waking up every day with a knot in my chest, I hit a wall. A real one. Not just mentally, I literally ran into the glass door of my office because I was so lost in my thoughts. That smack to the face. Yeah, the universe's version of a wake-up slap. And honestly, I needed it. See, I had spent so long trying to make things happen, I didn't even realize I was drowning in my own pressure. Every little thing felt like a mountain. My goals, my dreams, my "I gotta get there" mindset, it was all one giant storm cloud over my head. Heavy, grey, suffocating. But here's where it gets wild. One random afternoon, I sat down, hands in my hair, no more energy to push or plan or post. I looked up, sighed the deepest sigh I've ever sighed, and whispered, "You know what? I'm done forcing. No drama, no big ceremony, just surrender. Quiet, raw, real. I let go. Not like giving up, more like giving in. To trust, to something bigger than my hustle, to that tiny voice inside that had been begging me to stop holding the steering wheel so tight. And what happened next still gives me chills. Things just started. Flowing. Emails I forgot about turned into opportunities. People reached out without me asking. Money I wasn't expecting landed in my account like, "Hey, remember me?" It was as if the universe was standing on the sidelines this whole time going, "Finally, we've been trying to send this to you, but you were too busy trying to do our job." I realized that when I stopped trying to force the river, the current took me somewhere better than I could have paddled on my own. Letting go didn't make me lose control. It gave me real control. The kind that comes with peace, clarity, and alignment. So if you're holding on for dear life, trying to squeeze your dream into existence, try loosening the grip, just a little. You might be surprised how fast things move when you stop trying to move them. The strange truth about getting what you want without chasing it. All right, let me hit you with something that totally flipped my world upside down, and maybe it'll flip yours too. The more you force, the more you push away. But the more you allow, the more flows to you. Sounds kinda backwards, right? I thought so too. I mean, we grow up hearing things like no pain, no gain, work hard, play hard, hustle until it hurts. And for a while I bought into that full throttle. I was the king of hustle. If there was a goal, I chased it like a dog after a bone. Fast, loud, and all in. But here's the kicker. The harder I tried, the more stuck I felt. It was like trying to grab water with clenched fists. The tighter I squeezed, the faster it slipped through. And honestly, that realization hit me like a ton of spiritual bricks. One day, after weeks of burnout and frustration, I just let go. I stopped trying to make the thing happen. I stopped forcing phone calls, pushing projects, begging the universe for crumbs. I breathed, I trusted, I allowed, and bam, everything shifted. It felt like life finally took a deep breath with me. Things that were dragging started moving. People I was chasing suddenly came to me. Money flowed in, ideas sparked, peace showed up like an old friend I forgot I had. That's when I knew we repel what we chase too hard. Not because we're not good enough, but because our energy screams, "I don't trust this will come unless I grip it to death." And trust me, that energy, it pushes everything away like bug spray on blessings. But when you chill, when you trust, when you allow things to come to you, guess what? They do. So here's my gentle nudge to you from someone who's lived both sides. Stop clawing. Start flowing. Let life surprise you. It's so much better when you let it in instead of trying to kick down the door. Because sometimes the key isn't to try harder, it's to try softer. The inverse law, the universe's best-kept secret, that was right in front of us all along. So, there's this little universal secret nobody told us growing up. It's not in school textbooks, it's not in most self-help books, and honestly, it's hiding in plain sight. I like to call it the inverse law. Now, don't let the name scare you. It's not some complex spiritual formula with candles and crystals. Unless you're into that, no judgment, I've been there. It's actually super simple, but kind of flips everything we've been taught on its head. Here it is. The more you let go, the more life flows. The more you trust, the more shows up. And the more you force, the more you push it all away. Wild, right? This law works like the universe's secret boomerang. The moment you release that desperate grip, life circles back with what you were trying to catch. It's like the energy of trying too hard actually blocks the very thing you're chasing. And when you surrender, not give up, just get out of the way, it finally finds a path to reach you. I call it a forgotten truth, because deep down we all feel it. You've probably had moments where things magically came together when you stopped stressing. When you said, whatever happens, happens. And then boom, everything happened. Perfectly. That's the inverse law in action. It's sneaky. It doesn't scream or shout. It whispers through synchronicities, surprise phone calls, unexpected money, perfect timing. It rewards your calm more than your chaos, your faith more than your fight. We've just been too busy hustling to hear it, but once you tune into it, once you stop trying to swim upstream and start floating with the current, that's when the real magic begins. The inverse law isn't new. It's ancient. It's everywhere. But somehow it got buried under years of try harder, work, more, and never settle. Well, I say it's time to unbury the truth, because trust me, the universe wants to give you what you want. But first, it's waiting for you to stop trying so hard to take it. This isn't about giving up. It's about waking up. Let's get one thing super clear before we go any further. This book isn't about quitting. It's not about sitting back, throwing in the towel, and hoping the universe magically drops a yacht in your backyard. Nope. Not even close. It's about something way deeper. It's about unlocking the most magnetic, powerful, unstoppable force you already have inside you. Yeah, I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but I swear it's real. And most people walk around their whole lives never flipping that switch. See, we were taught to push, to grind, to chase, to control everything. And while that kind of hustle can get you somewhere, it usually comes with stress, burnout, and that "is this all there is" feeling. But here's the truth most folks don't talk about. The real power? It's not in the forcing, it's in the frequency. It's not about how loud you scream your goals. It's about how clearly you believe in them, even in silence. This book is your permission slip to do things differently, to stop acting like life is some monster you have to wrestle into submission and start realizing you're the magnet. Always were. You don't need to fight for what's already yours. You don't need to beg for what's already on its way. You just need to align, allow, and activate that wild, radiant energy you've been hiding under layers of fear, doubt, and what-ifs. So if you came here looking for another push harder, hustle harder, never sleep again kind of vibe, you won't find that. What you will find, a way to finally feel like you're working with the universe, not against it. A way to attract instead of chase, to flow instead of force, to trust instead of struggle. And spoiler alert, once you tap into that, life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a dance. Let's unlock it together. Part 1. Understanding the inverse law, where everything starts to make sense. Finally. Okay, deep breath. Now that we've opened the door to this, wild idea called the inverse law. It's time to really dive in. This is the part where the dots start connecting and the light bulbs start popping like popcorn. Let me tell you, when I first stumbled on this concept, it felt like someone handed me a secret map, one that explained why things hadn't worked the way I expected, and how life actually flows when you stop trying to boss it around. Because let's be real, most of us were taught to chase, hustle, and hold on for dear life. That the more pressure we apply, the faster we'll get what we want. But if you've ever tried to force a puzzle piece into the wrong spot, you know how frustrating and useless that is. That's where the inverse law flips everything upside down, in the best way possible. This first part of the book is all about shifting your mindset. It's where you'll learn that trying harder isn't always the answer. Sometimes it's the actual problem. Crazy, right? We're going to explore why things don't flow when we're desperate, why clinging, obsessing, and doing the most often leads to getting the least, and most importantly, how to finally let go without feeling like you're losing control. Because here's the real tea. You don't need to force what's meant for you. You just need to clear the path for it to arrive. So get comfy, open your mind a little wider, and let's take this next step together. You're not just about to understand the inverse law. You're about to feel it in every part of your life. Chapter 1. Why forcing doesn't work. The harder you try, the harder it hides, all right. Let's kick things off with a truth that took me way too long to learn. Forcing doesn't work. Like at all. I used to think if I just tried harder, pushed more, worked longer hours, said the right words, visualized at the right angle, bam, success would come flying through the window. But here's what really happened. The more I forced things, the more they slipped through my fingers like sand in a windstorm. You ever felt that? That weird, frustrating feeling like no matter how hard you hustle, life keeps saying, nope, not yet. It's like trying to open a door by banging on the wall next to it. All noise, no entry. And look, I get it. We're taught from day one that success comes from effort, from grinding, from doing the most. So of course we think that forcing something into place is the way to win. But the truth, life doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to energy, and when our energy screams, I need this or else, the universe hears panic, not power. It hears doubt, not faith. And that creates resistance, walls instead of windows. In this chapter, we're going to unpack why chasing pushes things away, how to tell when you're in force mode, and what to do instead when you're tempted to tighten your grip. Because here's the twist. What you want is already on its way, but only if you stop blocking it with your fists. Let's loosen the grip together. Trust me, there's way more magic in flow than in force. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips. Whew, this one hit me hard when I finally saw it. For the longest time, I thought control was the key to success. Like if I could just micromanage every detail, obsess over every step, and stay 10 steps ahead of life, I'd get exactly what I wanted. Spoiler alert, I didn't. Instead, I ended up stressed out, burned out, and watching everything I wanted drift further and further away. It was like trying to hug smoke. The more I chased, the more it disappeared. Funny, right? The thing we want so badly, love, money, peace, success, we think holding on tighter will bring it closer. But in reality, control and obsession push it away, like way away. Why? Because that energy, that anxious, needy, I have to make this happen right now or else kind of vibe, it screams lack. It tells the universe, I don't trust this is coming, so I'm going to wrestle it into existence. And trust me, nothing likes being wrestled into your life. Control is fear dressed up as strategy. And obsession? It's just trust with a panic attack. I've learned that when you loosen the grip, when you stop micromanaging every outcome and finally breathe, something beautiful happens. Life responds, things align, people show up, the energy shifts. Not because you worked harder, but because you relaxed harder. You let go and made space for what you wanted to actually come in. So if you've been holding on too tight, white-knuckling your way through your goals, take this as a sign. Loosen your grip. Let go of the need to control. Let life flow a little and just watch how fast the things you've been chasing start chasing you. The invisible wall between you and what you want. Okay, let's talk about something that nobody sees, but everybody feels, and most don't even realize they're doing it. I'm talking about psychological and energetic resistance. Yep, that sneaky little force that shows up just when you're about to level up. Let me break it down in plain words. You've got a dream. You want more money, more peace, a better life, maybe a soulmate or a breakthrough. You say all the right affirmations, make the vision board, light the candles, been there. But for some weird reason, nothing moves. That's resistance. It's like you got one foot on the gas and the other one slammed on the brake at the same time. Super frustrating, right? See, on the surface you're saying, I want this. But under the surface your mind is whispering, but what if? I'm not good enough? What if it doesn't work? What if I fail again? That psychological resistance, the mental tug-of-war that drains your energy and creates invisible blocks. Even when you're working hard on the outside, that fear, that doubt, that old story. Deep down, it holds everything hostage. Now pair that with energetic resistance and boom, double trouble. That's the vibe you give off when you're anxious, desperate, or trying way too hard. The universe feels that heavy energy and says, whoa there, something's off. It's like trying to tune a radio to your favorite song, but static keeps cutting in. That static, it's your resistance. It messes with your frequency. But here's the good news. Once you spot it, you can shift it. You don't have to fight it or fix it. You just have to notice it, breathe through it, get curious about it, and slowly start letting go of what's weighing you down on the inside. Because here's the truth I've learned again and again. It's not just about wanting more, it's about allowing more. And you can't allow anything in if your energy's building walls around it. So next time things feel stuck or slow, don't panic. Pause, check in, and ask yourself gently, am I resisting what I say I want? Chances are the answer is yes. And just by realizing that, you start to let it go. Stop chasing, it's running because you are. Let's get real for a second. We've all done it. Chased love, chased money, chased success, like full-on sprint mode, breathless, obsessive, fingers crossed, heart pounding, eyes glued to the prize. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, the more I chased, the more it ran. Let's talk about love first. Oh boy, I remember being so desperate to find the one that I turned into a walking dating app. Every conversation felt like an audition. I wasn't looking for connection, I was looking for a result. And yeah, it pushed people away faster than I could say, so what are we? Love doesn't show up when you beg it to. It shows up when you stop looking at every human like they're a potential fix to your loneliness. True love loves freedom, not pressure. Now let's talk money. There was a season in my life where I was choking my dreams with how badly I wanted to succeed. I read all the books, followed the gurus, chased every next big thing. But no matter what I did, it felt like money was always just a little out of reach. Why? Because money isn't attracted to neediness, it's attracted to alignment. It doesn't come because you're desperate. It comes when you feel safe, confident, and open enough to receive it. Same thing with success. When I was chasing it like my life depended on it, nothing flowed. My energy was heavy. I was obsessed with outcomes. And even when I hit a goal or two, it never felt good. It felt forced, empty, like winning a race I didn't even enjoy running. But, and here's the wild part, when I let go, when I stopped needing love to fill me, stopped needing money to define me, stopped needing success to prove me, things started landing in my lap. Love came in the most unexpected way. Money flowed when I was having fun. Opportunities knocked when I was just being myself. So if you're in that phase where it feels like you're running after something with everything you've got, and it keeps slipping away, maybe it's not because you're doing it wrong. Maybe it's because you're chasing what only comes when you stop chasing. Let it come to you. Trust me, it wants to. Chapter 2. The Law in Reverse. Everything you want is on the other side of letting go. Okay. Now we're getting into the juicy part. You know that moment when something just clicks and you're like, wait, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? That's exactly how I felt when I first understood the law in reverse. Here's the idea in a nutshell. What you want most doesn't come when you chase it. It comes when you stop chasing. I know it sounds like a cosmic joke, right? But hang with me. This is where everything starts to flip in your favor. Most of us have been running life in one direction, pushing, forcing, overthinking, trying to control every little detail. We've been told that success comes from doing more, trying harder, staying in control. But what if the real power is in doing the opposite? Like, instead of holding on tight, you loosen your grip. Instead of controlling the outcome, you trust the process. Instead of chasing, you become the magnet. That's the law in reverse. It's the universe's way of saying, hey, stop fighting the current. Turn around, let go, and let me carry you. Sounds simple, and it is, but living it, that takes a shift, a big one. You have to be willing to unlearn everything you were taught about effort and control. And in this chapter, that's exactly what we're going to explore together. I'll walk you through how this law actually works, why it's more than just a mindset, it's an energy shift, and how once you tap into it, life starts to move in ways you can't even explain. Get ready to see everything through a new lens. Because when you live in reverse, life finally moves forward. The moment you let go, it shows up. Let me hit you with something that changed my life the second I really understood it. When you stop trying to control the outcome begins to manifest. Read that again, slowly, because tucked inside that sentence is something most people miss their whole lives. It's called the inverse law, and wow, it's a game changer. I know what you're probably thinking. But wait, aren't I supposed to be in control of my future? Aren't I supposed to plan, push, hustle, and make it happen? Yeah, I used to believe that too. Until I realized all that control I thought was helping me was actually pushing everything I wanted further away. It's wild, right? The more I tried to micromanage every step, obsess over timelines, or stress over outcomes, the more stuck things felt. It was like life kept saying, as long as you're trying to steer the whole ship alone, I can't show you where the real treasure is. But the exact moment, I finally loosened my grip, something shifted. I didn't give up. I gave in. I trusted. I breathed. I stopped overthinking every little detail and just let things be. And that's when things started happening. Emails I forgot about got replies. Money came from places I didn't expect. Ideas flowed. People appeared. And I swear the universe winked at me. That's the inverse law in action. It's not magic, but it feels like it. See, the universe isn't against effort. It just moves faster when you're not clogging the path with fear and control. It wants to deliver. It's just waiting for you to stop blocking the delivery. So if you've been holding on too tight, trying to force life into a straight line, maybe this is your reminder. Let go. Trust a little more. Control a little less. And just like that, the outcome will start unfolding right in front of you. Let it go. And watch it show the science of detachment. All right, buckle up, because we're about to take a ride where quantum physics hugs spirituality. And somehow, it all makes perfect sense. Weird combo? Yep. But oh so powerful. Let's start with something that totally blew my mind. In quantum physics, there's this idea that the moment you stop observing a particle, it stops acting a certain way. Like literally. It behaves differently just because you're watching it too hard. Creepy, a little, but also super familiar, right? Because, let's be honest, How many times in life do we stare at something we want so badly only to watch it drift further away? Love, money, results, that one message you're dying to get, it's like they're all hiding behind a curtain whispering, "Shh, act natural, they're watching." Now here's where it gets juicy. Spirituality's been saying the same thing for centuries, just with different words. The moment you detach, release, surrender, that's when the magic happens. That's when your energy shifts from needy and clingy to calm and magnetic. And guess what? The universe loves that. So what do physics and faith agree on? That letting go creates space. Space for flow, for alignment, for your desires to finally breathe and come alive. When you obsess over something, you actually block it. You're sending out the vibe of, "I don't have this yet." And that's what the universe keeps mirroring back. But when you chill, trust, detach, boom, you shift into receiving mode. Think of it like this. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care so much you trust it enough to stop gripping it to death. You've set the intention. You've done the work. Now your job? Get out of the way. Let the particles do their thing. Let the universe do its thing. And let you relax into that sweet, powerful state of detached confidence. Because in this wild, beautiful dance between science and spirit, the moment you stop needing it is when it shows up. When geniuses let go, how the greats manifested without forcing. Want to know a little secret most people overlook? The world's most brilliant minds weren't just smart. They knew when to. Stop forcing. Seriously, if you peek behind the curtain of some of the biggest names in history, Einstein, Jobs, Edison, even Oprah, you'll notice a crazy pattern. They all hit a point where they stopped trying so hard and started allowing things to unfold. Let's talk Einstein for a sec. Everyone knows him as the math and universe guy, but he wasn't chained to a chalkboard 24/7. In fact, some of his biggest breakthroughs came when he stopped thinking and started imagining. He literally said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." He'd go on long walks, he'd daydream, he'd let his mind drift, and boom, ideas would drop in like lightning bolts out of nowhere. That's the inverse law, baby. Right there in a lab coat. Then there's Steve Jobs. Yeah, the Apple dude with the black turtleneck. The guy who brought the world iPhones and made minimalism cool. He used to talk about intuition and trust more than most spiritual teachers do. He once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust the dots will somehow connect in your future." In other words, stop gripping, start trusting. Now let's bring in Queen Oprah. She's all about flow, alignment, and yes, detachment. She said that for years she chased roles, success, approval, until she let it all go. The day she surrendered was the day she landed her breakthrough role in The Color Purple, without even trying. Coincidence? Nah. That's energy working its magic the second we stop getting in our own way. Even Edison, the light bulb guy, had over 1,000 failures before he made it work. But he wasn't obsessed with controlling every little step. He was curious, open, and in love with the process, not just the outcome. So here's the real kicker. The greats didn't force. They flowed. They got clear on what they wanted, took action, and then trusted the rest. And if it worked for them, well, let's just say you might be one deep breath and surrender away from your own breakthrough too. Let go a little. The genius inside you is just waiting for some space to show. Up Chapter 3, The Illusion of Control. The tighter you hold, the more it slips. Let's be honest, control feels good, like really good. There's something super satisfying about thinking you've got everything handled. The plans, the schedules, the backup plans to the backup plans. Been there, done that, color-coded the spreadsheet. But here's the twist. Most of the control we think we have is just an illusion. Oof, I know, right? We cling to this idea that if we just do everything right, say all the right things, move all the right pieces, we'll guarantee the outcome. We'll get the love, the money, the answer, the dream. But truth is, life doesn't follow our little checklists. It's wild, it's weird, it's full of surprises. And sometimes, the more we try to control every detail, the more tangled everything gets. It's like trying to keep water in your hands by squeezing harder. The tighter you grip, the faster it escapes. In this chapter, we're going to explore what real power actually looks like. Spoiler alert. It's not about controlling people, outcomes, or timing. It's about controlling your energy, your focus, your peace. No matter what's happening outside, we'll break down how the illusion of control keeps you in a loop of fear, frustration, and burnout, and how letting go doesn't mean losing. It means finally creating space for things to work out naturally. So if you've been feeling exhausted from trying to hold it all together, this chapter is going to feel like a deep exhale. Let's pop that illusion bubble once and for all, because what's waiting on the other side of surrender is way better than anything you could force into place. Control or clarity? You can't hold both. Here's something I learned the hard way, and maybe you have too. Trying to control everything doesn't give you peace. It steals it. For a long time, I thought control was the goal. I believed that if I could just figure it all out ahead of time, then I'd finally feel safe. Plan every step, know every outcome, rehearse every word, expect zero surprises. But wow, was I wrong? Because the more I tried to control things, the more confused I felt. The more I planned, the more pressure I carried. Control didn't bring clarity, it clouded it. It was like trying to drive through a storm with fogged-up windows while gripping the wheel like it owed me something. And that's when it hit me. Control is loud, but clarity is quiet. Control says you have to make this happen or else. Clarity whispers, you already know your next step. Trust it. One comes from fear, the other from truth. One clenches, the other breathes. The moment I stopped forcing things and started listening to myself, things got clear. Not perfect, not predictable, but clear. And you know what? That's all I ever needed. Clarity doesn't need to control. It just needs space to speak. And the truth is, it can't get through when your mind's busy trying to micromanage the universe. So here's a question I started asking myself every time I felt overwhelmed. Am I seeking clarity, or am I just trying to stay in control? Most times I was clinging to control out of fear I'd fall, but when I let go, even just a little, clarity caught me. So maybe today's not about taking control. Maybe it's just about getting clear and letting that clarity guide the way. Built to hustle, trained to struggle, the programming we never questioned. Let's get real for a sec. Most of us were raised on a steady diet of grind, hustle, strive, repeat. From the time we were little, we were told stuff like, work hard and you'll succeed, nothing comes easy and no pain, no gain. Sound familiar? Yeah, same here. We grew up thinking that forcing things was the only way to get anywhere in life, that if we weren't stressed, struggling, or sacrificing something, we weren't doing it right. Somewhere along the way, effort became the hero, and ease got labeled as lazy. It's wild when you really stop and think about it. We were never taught to flow, to align, to listen to our energy. Nope. We were trained to push through, even when our gut was screaming, this doesn't feel right. We were told to fight for our spot, compete, stay ahead, prove our worth. And it turned us into adults who equate rest with weakness and overwork with success. But here's the thing nobody told us growing up. Hustle isn't always holy, and struggle isn't a badge of honor. You can create massive success from peace. You can make magic happen from alignment. You can grow faster when you're not constantly running on fumes. But the old conditioning? It's sticky. It whispers, if you're not suffering, you're slacking. And that mindset? It keeps us stuck in a loop, always chasing, never receiving. So if you've ever felt guilty for slowing down, or anxious when things start feeling too easy, just know, that's not your truth talking, it's your programming, and you can rewrite it. You can choose flow over force, presence over pressure, ease over endless effort, because you weren't born to hustle till you break. You were born to align and attract, to create from clarity, not chaos. Let's start unlearning the lie that says more struggle equals more success. And let's remember the truth. The most powerful moves are often the quietest ones. More effort, more results, not always. Here's the truth. All right. It's time we bust one of the biggest lies we've ever been sold. If you just work harder, you'll get better results. Sounds noble, right? Sounds logical. Sounds like something every coach, teacher, and motivational speaker has shouted from a stage at some point. But here's what I've learned the hard way. Effort without alignment is just glorified struggle. I've had seasons where I worked my butt off, early mornings, late nights, barely breathing. I gave it everything, and still, crickets. No momentum, no magic, just exhaustion wrapped in a fake gold medal that said, "At least you tried." Thing is, effort only creates results when it's plugged into the right outlet. You can run full speed, but if you're on the wrong track, you're just getting further from where you actually want to be. Crazy, huh? Let's break it down. Aligned effort is when your energy, intention, and actions are all flowing in the same direction. It feels clear, clean, focused. It's that sweet spot where things click and progress actually shows up. Unaligned effort, that's the chaos zone. It's when you're busy but not effective, moving but not going anywhere. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom, non-stop hustle, zero results. And yet, so many of us stay stuck in that loop, because somewhere deep down we believe the lie. If I'm not getting results, I must not be working hard enough. But, most times, it means you're not working in alignment. So here's your permission slip to stop glorifying grind mode and start prioritizing clarity over chaos, energy over effort, flow over force. Because the truth is, one aligned action can be more powerful than 100 scattered ones. Let that sink in. And next time you feel like you have to do more to get more, ask yourself this instead. Is what I'm doing actually aligned? Or am I just spinning wheels hoping for a miracle? Trust me, alignment is the new hustle. Part 2, the art of letting go, because holding on too tight is what's holding you back, all right. Take a breath, let your shoulders drop, exhale that pressure you've been carrying around like a backpack, full of bricks, because now we're stepping into the part most people skip, the part that actually unlocks the magic. Letting go. Yeah, I know. Sounds simple, but it's a whole art form. We've been taught to hold on, to push, to grip every dream like if we loosen our fingers even a little, it'll slip away forever. But guess what? Letting go isn't losing. It's making space for what you truly want to come in. In this next section, we're diving deep into the art of surrender, but not in a give up and lay on the couch kind of way. Nah. This is conscious surrender, the kind that says, I've done my part, now I trust the rest. You'll learn how to spot when your energy is working against you, even if your intentions are pure. You'll see how clinging too tightly to the outcome is actually pushing it away, and you'll start practicing what I call energetic relaxation, where your mind, body, and soul all start flowing in the same direction. We're going to talk about real trust, how to drop resistance, and why letting go doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're finally strong enough to stop wrestling with the universe. So yeah, this isn't the part where you give up. This is the part where you get free. Let's begin the beautiful, slightly scary, totally liberating journey of letting go. Because once you master this, you'll stop chasing what's already making its way to you. Chapter 4. Surrender is power. The moment you stop fighting, everything starts flowing. Let me be real with you. The word surrender used to freak me out. It sounded like giving up, like waving a white flag and letting life walk all over me. I mean, we grow up hearing things like never back down, fight till the end, and winners don't quit. So naturally, surrender felt like weakness. But wow, I couldn't have been more wrong. Turns out surrender isn't weakness. It's pure power, the kind of power that doesn't shout or shove, but still moves mountains. In fact, the day I truly let go, fully released my grip on how things should go, was the day everything shifted. Ideas flowed, people appeared, doors cracked open where there used to be walls. And I thought, wait, was surrender the secret this whole time? Yup, it was. In this chapter, we're going to explore why real strength comes from trusting, not tightening. Why the most magnetic energy you can carry is one that says, I know what I want, but I'm not forcing it anymore. You'll learn how to stop resisting what is and start allowing what can be. You'll feel the difference between pushing from fear and acting from alignment. And most importantly, you'll discover that letting go doesn't take away your power. It activates it. So if you've been hustling, holding on, trying to control it all with tired hands and a racing heart, this is your moment to pause, to soften, to surrender, and to step into the kind of power that doesn't need to fight because it already knows it's safe to receive. Surrender isn't giving up, it's trusting up. Let's clear the air real quick. Surrender isn't about quitting. It's not about throwing your hands in the air and walking away. It's not you saying, whatever, I give up. Nope, not even close. Surrender, when you really feel it, is something way deeper, way braver. It's not giving up. It's trusting up. It's saying, I've done my part. Now I trust life to meet me halfway. And let me tell you, that shift changes everything. See, we've been programmed to think surrender means weakness, like we're waving the white flag and letting the world roll over us. But in reality, it's the moment you stop trying to play God and start letting the universe do its thing. It's choosing to believe that maybe, just maybe, things are working. Out behind the scenes, even when it doesn't look like it yet. Surrender is soft, but it's not small. It's quiet, but it's fierce in the best way. It takes guts to release the need to control, to admit, I don't know how this will unfold, but I trust that it will. And that kind of faith, that's where the magic starts to move. When I stopped obsessing over the how, when I released the white-knuckle grip I had on my goals, when I finally said, okay, I trust you, that's when everything began to flow. So if surrender's been feeling like a scary word to you, maybe it's time to give it a new meaning. Not giving up, trusting up. Try it. You just might feel the weight you've been carrying melt away. And in its place, peace, possibility, and a path that finally feels open. Letting go isn't losing, it's letting life in. Let's talk about something most people totally misunderstand. What does it really mean to let go? Because wow, if I had $1 for every time someone told me, just let it go, when I was stressed, anxious, or obsessing over something, yeah, I'd probably have enough to buy a small island. But the truth, I didn't get it. I thought letting go meant walking away, giving up, detaching like I didn't care. And honestly, that felt impossible. Turns out, letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It's not saying, I don't want this anymore. It's saying, I want this, but I trust the timing, the path, and whatever's meant for me. That's a whole different vibe, right? Letting go is about releasing the fear, not the dream. It's dropping the pressure, not the vision. It's loosening your grip so the universe can actually get a word in, because when we're too busy trying to control every outcome, we're not giving life room to surprise us. And spoiler alert, some of the best stuff shows up when you stop micromanaging your own miracles. When I finally started to understand what letting go really meant, everything softened. My anxiety eased. Opportunities flowed in. I felt safe again, not because I had all the answers, but because I stopped trying to force them. So if your mind's been racing and your energy's been tight, this is your gentle nudge. Let go. Not because you're giving up, but because you're giving space. And in that space, that's where the real magic moves in. From fear to faith, the shift that changes everything. There's this moment, quiet, subtle, but powerful, when something deep inside you shifts. And just like that, you go from fear to faith. I've felt it. That tight, anxious feeling in your chest when things aren't going the way you planned. Your mind's spinning, your heart's racing, and everything in you wants to grab the wheel and fix it now. That's fear energy, and wow, it's loud. Fear says, what if it goes wrong? Faith says, what if it all works out? Fear tries to control. Faith allows. Fear drains you. Faith fuels you. The shift happens the moment you decide to stop playing out worst-case scenarios in your head and start trusting that something greater has your back. It's not about pretending you're never scared. Heck no. We're human. Fear pops in, knocks on the door. But faith is what opens that door with a calm smile and says, you're not in charge here. When you switch from fear to faith, your whole energy changes. It softens, it expands. You become magnetic without even trying. You stop pushing and start attracting. The best part. You don't have to wait for life to give you a sign to make that shift. You are the sign. You are the shift. All it takes is a choice, a breath, a moment of saying, I may not know how this ends, but I trust. It's leading me somewhere good. So next time fear starts running the show, remember this. You don't have to kick it out. You just have to stop handing it the microphone. Choose faith, even if it's just a whisper, because sometimes that's all the universe needs to move. Mountains for you. Chapter 5. Aligning with flow. Because life moves better when you stop swimming against the current. All right. Let's get into it. You know that feeling when everything just clicks? You're in the zone, things line up without you trying so hard, and it's like the universe is nodding and saying, yep, you're on track. That, my friend, is what I call flow. And let me tell you, flow is the sweet spot. It's where magic happens, where ideas land, where things feel light instead of heavy. And best of all, you don't have to force a single thing. But here's the catch most people miss. You don't find flow by chasing it. You align with it. In this chapter, we're going to unpack how to actually do that, how to get your mind, your energy, and your intentions all flowing in the same direction. Like a river that's just waiting for you to stop paddling upstream. You'll learn how to feel the difference between force and flow, how to recognize when you're out of sync, and how to course correct without going into panic mode. We'll talk about tuning in, slowing down, trusting that still, small voice that whispers instead of shouts. And most importantly, we'll dive into the truth that changed everything for me. Flow isn't something outside of you, it's something you return to. So if you've been tired of the grind, worn out from overthinking and wondering why things feel stuck, this is your permission slip to drop the struggle, because the second you align with flow, life stops being a battle and starts becoming a dance. Out of sync? Here's how to tell you're out of alignment. Ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but still, nothing's clicking? You're working hard, showing up, following the plan, and yet life feels like it's stuck in slow motion, like you're pushing a boulder uphill while wearing flip-flops? Yep. Been there. That, my friend, is a classic sign that you're out of alignment. And trust me, it's way more common than you think. So how do you know when you've slipped out of sync with flow? Oh, the signs are there. You just have to start paying attention. First clue. Everything feels heavy. Even simple tasks feel like a chore. You lose that natural spark, and instead of being pulled by inspiration, you're dragging yourself through the day like a zombie on autopilot. Second, you're stuck in your head 24/7, overthinking, overanalyzing, second-guessing every little move. Your mind's doing laps while your heart's on mute. Third, you're chasing, not attracting. You feel this constant need to make it happen, like if you take one lazy breath, the whole universe might forget you exist. That frantic energy, yeah, it repels what you're trying to call in. Oh, and let's not forget the emotional roller coaster, random frustration, sudden doubt, burnout that shows up out of nowhere. Those are not just bad moods. They're your inner compass yelling, hey, you're off track. Now don't freak out. Being out of alignment doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're disconnected from your flow. And guess what? That's fixable. In fact, just noticing it is the first step back. So next time life feels clunky, heavy, or off, don't push harder. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I forcing or flowing? Because when you get real with yourself and spot the misalignment, you're already halfway back to your power. And once you shift, oh man, life starts moving again. And this time it moves with you. Winks from the universe. How to spot the signs you're being guided. Let me tell you something kind of wild. The universe is always talking to you. The question is, are you listening? I used to think signs from the universe were just cute things spiritual people said to feel better when life got weird. But oh no, once I started paying attention, game changer. See, the universe doesn't scream. It whispers. It drops little clues, nudges, patterns, and oh wow, that's creepy coincidences to let you know you're either on the right path or way off it. You know that random song that plays at just the right moment? Or that person you keep bumping into over and over again? Or how your phone dies right before you text someone you know you shouldn't be texting? Yeah, that's not random. That's alignment. Here are a few signs I've personally noticed when I'm being guided or warned. Repeating numbers, 111, 222, 444. They show up everywhere when I'm aligned or about to make a shift. Sudden delays, like missed buses or cancelled plans that feel annoying in the moment, but end up protecting or redirecting me. Dreams that feel too vivid or weird to ignore. Like your soul is trying to slip you a message while your brain's asleep. Gut feelings that don't make logical sense, but never seem to be wrong. And sometimes the universe will get extra bold and shut a door in your face so hard you can't ignore it. Not to punish you, but to protect your purpose. The cool thing is, once you start trusting these signs, even the subtle ones, life starts feeling less like a confusing mess and more like a conversation, a two-way street, a vibe. So if something keeps showing up in your path, don't shrug it off. Ask yourself, what's this trying to tell me? Because you're never really alone on this journey. The universe, it's always dropping breadcrumbs, and all you gotta do is follow the trail. Back to flow. Simple practices that bring you home to yourself. Let's be honest, life gets noisy. Your mind's running, your phone's buzzing, and suddenly you're 3 coffees deep wondering why everything feels off. Trust me, I've been there more times than I can count. That scattered, disconnected feeling, yeah, it usually means you've stepped out of flow. But here's the good news. Flow isn't something you have to chase. It's something you return to, and it's a lot closer than you think. When I feel like I've lost my center, when I'm pushing too hard, thinking too much, or trying to figure it all out, I come back to 3 simple things: breath, silence, and presence. Let's break it down. First up, breath. It's wild how often we forget to actually breathe. Not just the shallow chest stuff. We're talking those deep, soul-soothing inhales that reset your entire vibe. When I pause and take just a few slow, intentional breaths, I can feel my energy settle. It's like my nervous system sighs in relief. Next, silence. Now, I know silence can feel awkward, especially when we're used to filling every gap with noise, but silence is where the gold is. It's where your intuition whispers. It's where clarity sneaks in. You don't need a mountain retreat. Just 5 quiet minutes with no distractions can do the trick. And finally, presence. This one's powerful. It's the practice of being here fully, not in tomorrow. Not stuck in yesterday, just now. Whether I'm sipping tea, watching the sky, or folding laundry, if I bring my full attention to it, I feel grounded, realigned, alive again. These practices, they're not fancy, they're not complicated, but wow, they work every time. So the next time you feel scattered or stuck, don't spiral. Breathe. Get still. Come back to the moment, because the path back to flow doesn't start out there. It starts right here inside you. Chapter 6. Letting go of desperation. Because needy energy chases everything away. Let's just call it out. Desperation has a smell, and not a cute one. It's that clingy, panicky, I need this to work or else kind of energy that chases away the very thing you're trying to attract. Yeah, I know it all too well. I've been that person. The one refreshing their email every 30 seconds, overthinking texts, trying to manifest with sweaty palms and a racing heart. Whether it was love, money, or opportunity, I wanted it so bad that I couldn't even breathe straight. And here's what I learned. The universe doesn't respond to begging. It responds to belief. When we operate from desperation, our vibe screams lack. It says, I don't trust this is coming. And that energy, it repels the very thing we're calling in. This chapter is all about releasing that desperate grip. Because when you let go of the neediness, you step into something way more powerful, knowing, that deep down, grounded, quiet confidence that says, I'm already aligned, it's already on its way. We'll talk about how to recognize when you're tipping into desperation, how to shift that energy fast, and how to reconnect with trust, even when your external world is saying, nothing's happening. Because the truth is, desperation pushes, belief receives. And when you finally stop chasing, that's when everything starts arriving, ready to release the need and return to your power. Let's go. The vibe that pushes everything away, even when you want it most. Let's talk about a sneaky little energy that's probably messed with all of us at some point. Neediness. Just saying the word makes me cringe a little. Not because it's bad, but because it carries this heavy, clingy, please don't leave me energy that literally repels the very thing you're begging to keep close. Here's the real deal: neediness, scarcity, repulsion. And that formula, it's brutal, but true. When you show up to life, or love, or money, or anything, with this desperate, shaky energy that says, I need this, or I'm not okay. What you're actually doing is telling the universe, I don't trust this will come to me naturally. That kind of vibe? Yeah, it's like emotional bug spray. It drives opportunities away, it pushes people off. It makes abundance slam the door and say, call me when you chill. Why? Because scarcity energy creates resistance. It's loud, it's anxious, it's filled with doubt and overthinking. And nothing aligned can land when the energy is that cluttered. On the flip side, when you shift into trust, into calm, into, I want this, but I don't need it to feel whole, everything changes. Confidence attracts. Clarity attracts. Calm attracts. But desperation, not so much. Now don't get me wrong. We all have moments when we really, really want something. That's human. But when your desire starts sounding like a scream instead of a signal, that's your cue. Time to pause, breathe, detach, recalibrate. So next time you catch yourself spiraling in that needy, grasping energy, stop and ask, what story am I telling myself that's making me feel like this is my only shot? Because the truth is, it's not. And once you let go of the need, you make space for the right thing to come running your way. Want it, but don't cling. The secret to desiring without desperation. Okay, let's talk about something that used to totally confuse me. How the heck do you want something deeply without getting totally attached to it? I mean, seriously, how do you dream big, set intentions, visualize the life of your dreams, and still be okay if it doesn't show up exactly the way you imagined? Sounds like a paradox, right? But here's the truth. You can absolutely desire something without needing it to define you. That's the sweet spot. That's where the magic happens, because desire on its own is powerful. It's your soul reaching forward. But desire mixed with attachment, yikes, that turns into desperation real quick. When you attach to an outcome like your happiness depends on it, you start gripping, forcing, obsessing, and the more you grip, the more it slips. So how do you flip the script? First, get crystal clear on your desire, but drop the pressure. Say to yourself, I would love for this to happen, but I'm good either way. That's not settling, that's energetic freedom. Next, trust the bigger picture. You don't always get what you want, but you do get what's aligned. And sometimes that means something way better than what you were clinging to. And finally, stay open. Let the universe surprise you. Desire should feel exciting, not heavy, aligned, not desperate. Think of it like placing an order at a restaurant. You tell the waiter what you want, and then you chill. You don't follow him into the kitchen and panic over the stove. Same goes for life. So yes, want it, dream it, feel it, but don't squeeze it to death. Let it breathe, let it flow, and most of all, let it come to you with ease. The boomerang effect. Let it go, and watch it come back bigger. Want to hear something kind of wild? Sometimes, the second you let go of what you want so badly, it comes flying right back, stronger, faster, better. I call it the boomerang effect, and yep, it's a real thing. I've seen it in my life over and over again. I'd be chasing something, an opportunity, a person, a result, with everything I had. Full obsession mode, and guess what? Crickets, nothing, ghost town. But then I'd finally get tired, frustrated, done. I'd surrender for real. Not in a fake, I'll pretend to let go so it still comes kind of way. Like actually release it from my heart and say, you know what? If it's meant for me, it'll come. And boom. Suddenly, it shows up, like it never left, but stronger, clearer, ready. It's weird, right? But also kind of magical. See, when you release that tight, needy grip, your energy shifts. You go from chasing to attracting, from fear to faith. And the universe can finally breathe and say, now I can work with this. It's the same reason people say you find love when you're not looking, or money shows up when you stop stressing about it. It's not coincidence, it's alignment. What you let go with trust doesn't vanish. It circles back. It gathers momentum. It returns with more clarity, more flow, more power, like a boomerang that needed space to fly before it could come back and land in your hands. So if something's not working, maybe it's not time to push harder. Maybe it's time to release it with love. Let it go, not as a loss, but as a bold, beautiful invitation to the universe, because more often than not, what you let go of with faith comes back bigger than you ever imagined. Part 3, becoming a magnet. Attract more by doing less and being more okay. Now we're getting to the fun part. You've learned how forcing pushes things away, how letting go brings peace, and how alignment puts you back in flow. Now it's time to flip the switch from chasing to attracting. Yep, this is the part where you start becoming a magnet. And no, I'm not talking about some woo-woo fairy tale where you sit around hoping for stuff to magically fall into your lap, even though sometimes it kinda does. I'm talking about real energetic magnetism, the kind that pulls in what's meant for you without all the struggle, stress, and second-guessing. Here's the truth. Most people don't hear enough. You don't get what you want just because you work hard for it. You get what you're in alignment with, what you believe, what you radiate. So in this final part, we're going to explore how to tune your energy to the frequency of receiving, how to shift from "I hope it works" to "Of course it's coming." How to build a mindset, a vibe, a presence that quietly says, I'm ready, I'm open, I attract what's mine. We'll talk about embodying the version of you who already has what you want, trusting divine timing, and living from that place of calm confidence that turns heads and opens doors without even trying. So if you're tired of running, proving, Chasing and overthinking, this is your moment. This is where everything gets lighter, simpler, way more magnetic, because you were never meant to beg for blessings. You were born to pull them in effortlessly. Chapter 7. The Energy of Receiving. Open up and let it in. All right, let's talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough credit. The energy of receiving. Sounds simple, right? I mean, who doesn't want to receive amazing things? Love, money, opportunities, peace, purpose. Bring it on. But here's the kicker. Most people are way better at wanting than they are at receiving. Yep, that was me for years. I said I wanted abundance, but deep down, I didn't know how to let it in. I had walls up. I overthought everything. I doubted if I was ready, or worse, if I even deserved it. And the truth is, you can't attract what you're not open to receive. Receiving is more than hoping. It's more than visualizing. It's an energetic state, a posture, a vibe. It's you saying to the universe, I'm ready, I trust. I'm not going to block the very thing I've been asking for. In this chapter, we're going to explore what it really means to be a receiver. How to shift out of survival mode and into receiving mode. How to recognize when you're unknowingly saying no thanks to what you actually want. We'll talk about how to expand your capacity to receive more, not just in your bank account, but in your heart, your joy, your time, your peace. Because here's the truth, most folks miss. Receiving isn't passive. It's powerful. It's not waiting, it's welcoming. So yeah, you've been asking, now it's time to start receiving. Open the door. The delivery's already on the way. Abundance isn't a race. It's a door you open. Here's something that flipped my entire mindset on its head. You don't chase abundance. You receive it. I know. That goes against everything we were taught, right? The hustle culture says, go after it, fight for it, run faster. But what if I told you that abundance doesn't respond to chasing? In fact, the more you chase it, the more it runs. Yep, been there. I spent years trying to catch abundance like it was some prize at the end of a never-ending marathon. I worked harder, pushed more, stressed out over every detail. But all that did? It pushed abundance further away, because here's the truth that most people miss. Abundance isn't earned by effort. It's received through alignment. It's not about doing more. It's about being open, energetically, emotionally, spiritually. It's about clearing the noise, softening the grip, and allowing good things to come without chasing them down like a wild goose. You attract what you're a match for. So if your vibe is all tension, scarcity, and please just let it happen already, that energy blocks the flow. But when you shift into a space of trust, worthiness, and presence, that's when abundance walks right in. No knocking, no begging, just ease. So maybe the real question isn't, how do I get more? Maybe it's, how can I receive what's already mine? The doors of abundance don't open with force. They open when you finally stop running. And remember that you've been the magnet all along. The unlock code, how to actually open yourself to receive. Let's be real. Everybody wants to receive more. More money, more love, more peace, more opportunities. But here's the thing, most people never talk about wanting isn't the same as being open. I had to learn this the hard way. I kept asking the universe for more, writing down goals, repeating affirmations, visualizing my dream life. But deep down, my energy was saying, I'm not ready. I don't believe it's possible. I'm scared to receive it. Yikes, that was a hard truth to swallow. Turns out receiving is a whole vibe. It starts with your mindset, what you believe is actually available for you. If deep down you think abundance is only for other people, you're already blocking the flow. Your mind has to shift from, is this too much to ask, to this is exactly what I'm meant for. Then comes your frequency, aka your energetic tone. Are you vibrating from stress, doubt, or lack? Or are you showing up with trust, peace, and excitement? Because let's be honest, the universe doesn't respond to desperate energy. it responds to alignment, and last but not least, belief. That deep inner knowing that says, I'm worthy, I'm ready, I can handle everything that's coming my way. Not someday, not maybe, but now. When your mindset is clear, your frequency is high, and your belief is strong, something amazing happens. You stop chasing and start allowing. You open the door instead of banging on it. And suddenly, stuff starts showing up. Opportunities, ideas, people, peace, flow. Not because you forced it, but because you finally made space for it. So, if you've been asking for more but feeling stuck, maybe it's not about doing more. Maybe it's time to check your vibe, because to receive big, you've got to be open wide, mindset on point, frequency in tune, belief unshakable. That's the real unlock. Chapter 8. Trusting the timing. It's not late, it's aligning, let's be honest. Waiting sucks, especially when you know what you want. You've done the inner work, you've visualized it 1,000,000 times, and still nothing's showing up. Been there. A lot, and in those moments, it's easy to spiral, to think something's wrong, that maybe you're doing it wrong, or worse, that maybe it's never coming. But here's what I've learned, after wrestling with the clock way too many times. Delays aren't denial. They're divine alignment. I know that sounds all poetic and woo, but seriously, there's a bigger rhythm happening behind the scenes, and when we try to rush it, we actually mess with the magic. This chapter is all about letting go of the pressure to make it happen now and learning how to trust the timing of your life. Because what if the universe isn't saying no? What if it's just saying, hold on, I'm making it better? We'll talk about the signs that something's on its way, even when you can't see it yet, how to stop fighting with the clock, and how to stay aligned while things unfold. Because trusting the timing doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing your part, and then not panicking when it doesn't all show up on your deadline. So if you've been feeling like things are taking too long, like your breakthrough is stuck in traffic, this chapter is your exhale, your reminder, your cosmic chill out, because what's meant for you isn't lost. It's just on its way, right on time. When the clock lies, divine timing versus ego timing. Let's talk about a battle we've all felt deep in our bones. Divine timing versus ego timing. Woo. This one hits home, because if you're anything like me, your ego wants things now. Scratch that, yesterday. Fast, on demand, exactly how you imagined it, with a neat little bow on top. But the universe? Yeah. It's got a different schedule. Ego timing is impatient. It's loud. It panics when things don't show up on the expected day, in the expected way. It says, if it's not happening now, maybe it never will. It's that inner voice that throws tantrums when life dares to take a detour. But divine timing, oh, it's something else entirely. Divine timing is wise, chill, quietly confident. It knows things you don't. It sees connections and setups and behind-the-scenes shifts that your mind just can't comprehend yet. And most importantly, it's never wrong. Looking back, some of the best things in my life came at the wrong time, but once they arrived, I got it. I wasn't ready before, or something better was being lined up, or I had to grow through the waiting to actually hold what I was asking for. Funny how that works, huh? So if your ego's throwing a fit right now, stomping its feet, yelling, but when? Pause, breathe, step back, ask yourself, am I on ego time, or am I trusting divine time? Because here's the truth. Ego timing feels frantic. Divine timing feels peaceful, even when nothing's happened yet. And that peace, that's your clue, that's alignment. The universe isn't ignoring you. It's orchestrating something even better. So stop checking the clock. Start trusting the rhythm. Your moment is coming, on time, not on ego. Chill, but don't. Check out How to Be Patient Without Going Passive. Let's be real, waiting is hard. Especially when you know what you want. You've put in the work, and the only thing left to do is, well, wait. But here's where it gets tricky. How do you practice patience without falling into passivity? Like, how do you stay calm, trusting, aligned, without just sitting around doing nothing and calling it flow. Oh, I've danced with this one a lot. See, patience isn't about being still. It's about being steady. It's about showing up with faith, not force. It's doing what you can do and then not panicking over what you can't control. Passive energy feels checked out, numb, unbothered in the wrong way. But true patience is alive. It's awake. It's grounded. It's saying, I believe in what's coming, and I'm preparing for it, even if I can't see it yet. So how do you find that sweet spot? First, stay connected to your vision. Remind yourself daily why you're doing what you're doing. Keep the desire alive, but without obsession. Second, take aligned action. That means doing things that feel good, true, and inspired. Not just busy work, but moves that match the version of you who already has what you're calling in. And finally, breathe, relax, trust, because rushing won't make it happen faster. It just burns you out. This kind of patience isn't about waiting around. It's about walking forward, one chill, focused, faith-filled step at a time. So no, you don't have to force, but please don't disappear either. Stay in the game, stay in your heart, and know that real patience is powerful, not passive. When it's not a no, just a not yet, the beauty of divine delays. Let me tell you, I've had some delays that drove me crazy. Like pacing the floor, checking the clock, questioning everything kind of delays. You know the ones, when you're so ready, so sure, so aligned, and then life hits you with silence. But here's what I've learned through those "why is this taking so long?" moments. Sometimes the delay is the blessing. Yep, I said it. That thing you thought was being withheld. It was actually being prepared. The universe doesn't deal in rejection. It deals in redirection. And when something doesn't happen right away, it's not because it's lost. It's because it's being timed to arrive when it can serve you best. Because let's be real. If I had received some of the things I begged for at the time, I begged for them. Total chaos. I wasn't ready, I would have fumbled it. Or worse, settled for less when something way better was loading. Divine delays are love in disguise. They give you time to grow, time to build the foundation, time to shed what doesn't belong in your next chapter. They're the pause before, the plot twist, the silence before the spotlight. And if you look back, I bet you've had a few "thank God that didn't happen when I wanted it to" moments too. So if you're in the waiting room right now, don't lose hope. Don't assume the delay means denial. Sometimes the universe is just moving pieces you can't see yet. And when it all lines up, you'll look back and think, wow, that timing was perfect. Hold the vision, trust the pause, because divine delays, they're setting you up for something way bigger than you imagined. Chapter 9, Living the Inverse Way. Less pressure, more power. So now that we've peeled back all the layers, the control, the forcing, the hustle, the waiting, it's time to bring it all home. This chapter is about what happens when you actually start living the inverse way. And let me tell you, it's a whole vibe shift. It's the moment you stop saying, "I hope this works," and start feeling, "I trust that it's working, even when I can't see it yet." Living the inverse way means leading with energy, not effort. It's not that you stop taking action. It's that you start taking the right kind of action. The kind that's calm, clear, intentional, not panicked or pushy. It's about listening more than forcing, trusting more than chasing, and receiving more than grinding. In this chapter, I'm going to show you what it actually looks like to walk through life with this new mindset. How to handle challenges without spiraling. How to make decisions from flow, not fear. And how to let life meet you halfway without trying to control the route it takes. Because here's the thing. This way of living isn't just easier. It's more effective. The inverse way is about doing less with more impact. It's about being grounded, magnetic, intentional. And once you start living like this, everything changes. Let's dive in and make it real. Not just something you read, but something you become. Making it real. living the inverse way. In business, love, and life. All right? So by now you might be thinking, okay, this inverse way stuff sounds amazing, but how do I actually use it in my everyday life? Great question, because this isn't just some floaty idea for meditation cushions and vision boards. Nope, this is real-life magic. Stuff you can apply right now in your business, relationships, and even your health. Let's start with business. For the longest time, I thought success meant grinding non-stop. No sleep, all hustle, caffeine-fueled goals. But when I started practicing flow over force, everything changed. I started creating from inspiration instead of panic. I stopped obsessing over numbers and leaned into service, value, alignment. And guess what? Clients, ideas, and money started showing up with way less stress. Now let's talk relationships. Oh boy, whether it's dating, friendships, or family, we've all had those moments where we tried way too hard. The overthinking, the people-pleasing, the awkward energy that pushes people away when all you wanted was connection. But when I started showing up as my full self, no masks, no chasing, just calm confidence and clarity, everything shifted. The right people stayed, the wrong ones faded, thank God. And love? It started flowing in the most unexpected ways. And yes, even your health responds to this. I used to punish my body with strict routines, obsessive workouts, and guilt over every bite. Now, I move with intention. I eat with joy. I rest when I need it, without shame. And weirdly enough, my body feels stronger, lighter, more energized. Not because I'm doing more, but because I'm doing it with love. So yeah, living the inverse way is practical, it's powerful, it's peaceful. You don't have to wait for some perfect aha moment to start. Just pause, breathe, ask yourself, am I chasing or aligning? And then lean into the one that feels lighter, because the more you live it, the more life rises up to meet you. See it. Feel it. Be it. The power trio for manifesting in flow. All right, let's get into one of my favorite combos ever. Visualization, non-resistance, and embodiment. Woo! This right here. This is how you live the inverse way. Not just think about it. First up, visualization. Now I know it might sound a little woo-woo at first, like you're just daydreaming in high definition. But it's so much more than that. When you visualize, with emotion, with clarity, with presence, you're literally rehearsing your future into reality. I like to say, see it till it feels normal. That's when the magic starts. Your brain, your body, your energy, they start aligning with the version of you who already has it. Next is a big one, non-resistance. This changed everything for me. I used to fight everything. Delays, doubts, detours. I'd resist reality like it was my full-time job. But when I learned to soften into the moment, to stop arguing with what is, I finally found peace. And ironically, that peace created space for things to shift faster. Non-resistance isn't about giving up. It's about letting go of the fight so flow can take over. And finally, we've got embodiment. Oof, this is where things get real. It's not enough to think it. You've got to live it. Want to attract abundance? Walk like someone who's already abundant. Want love? Speak to yourself like someone who's deeply loved. Want confidence? Breathe, move, and dress like someone who owns their light. Embodiment is about becoming the energy of what you want before it shows up, because when you become it first, life has no choice but to meet you there. So if you're ready to stop waiting and start aligning, here's the recipe. Visualize it. Release the resistance, live it now, and trust me, that version of you keep dreaming about, they're already inside. You just have to let them out. Get out of the way, so the universe can finally do its job. So here we are, full circle. You've journeyed through letting go, realigning, and learning to receive without all the noise, pressure, and hustle. And now, it's time for the biggest shift of all. Step aside. Yep, that's it. Simple words. Massive power, because here's the truth. Most of us never got taught. The universe has been trying to deliver your desires all along. You're just standing in the doorway with your doubt, with your control, with your need to force the how, the when, the who. And I get it, it's human. We want to make sure things happen. We think we need to do more, plan more, push harder, but more often than not, that energy blocks the very thing we're trying to call in. The universe moves in ease, flow, alignment, trust. It's like a river, always ready to carry you, but only once you stop trying to paddle upstream with a broken oar and a clenched jaw. So if you've made it this far, this is your invitation to surrender deeper than you ever have before. Not in a give-up way, in a powerful, trusting, soft, but unshakable kind of way. You've already asked, you've already aligned. Now just allow. Let the universe meet you, surprise you, do its thing in the background while you keep showing up in the now, clear, open, grounded, because when you stop trying to control every little piece, you make space for everything to fall perfectly into place. So breathe, loosen the grip, smile at the unknown, and remember, the universe isn't waiting to say yes. It's just waiting for you to step aside. The dam and the key, you've been holding the flow all along. Let's end this with a truth bomb that's been quietly waiting in the background, just like your biggest dreams. You are the dam, and you are also the key. Yeah, let that sink in for a sec. All this time, if it felt like things weren't moving, it wasn't because the universe was ignoring you. It wasn't because your desires weren't valid, or your dreams were too big. Nope, it was because you were blocking your own flow through fear, through doubt, through gripping too tight and trying too hard. And that's okay. We've all been there. But here's the empowering, goosebump-level truth. You're not just the one who built the dam. You're also the one who can unlock it. You get to choose a new way. You get to shift your energy. You get to open the floodgates. By stepping back, breathing deeper and trusting more, everything you want is already circling you, waiting, ready, aligned. It's not about how hard can I push. It's about how open can I be, because once you turn that key, once you truly let go, the flow rushes in. Ideas, people, peace, opportunities, miracles, all the things you thought you had to chase start flowing to you instead. So this is your reminder. You've never been stuck, you've just been standing in your own way. But now, you've got the key. Turn it, step aside, let it all in. The door opens when you let go of the handle. All right, here it is, the final reminder. The drop the mic moment. The truth that changed everything for me. Stop trying so hard to open the door, because the moment you stop knocking, the universe will swing it wide open. I mean, whew. Read that again. I used to knock like crazy. I'd bang, push, jiggle the handle, peek through the keyhole, try to pick the lock with all my force and frustration. And guess what? Nothing opened. Not really. Why? Because I was trying to control what was meant to flow. I was so focused on breaking through that I didn't realize I didn't have to push. I had to trust that door. It was never locked. It just wasn't ready to open yet. And all my effort, all my obsession, all my anxiety, that was me blocking the moment it could open. But the second I stepped back, unclenched my fists and said, "Okay, I trust the timing," boom! The door flew open, like it had been waiting for me to stop getting in the way. So here's your final affirmation, your gentle nudge, your soul-level permission slip. You don't need to knock any harder. You just need to trust that it's already on the other side. Let go of the chase. Let go of the force. Let go of thinking it's all up to you, because the second you stop knocking, that door swings wide open.